Did you know that when you agreed to be an adult leader, you also agreed to find your replacement? Hey, ScouterStan, task 1. When you became a leader, your first task as a leader was to find somebody that will eventually grow into your position so that you can move on, move up, move out, what have you. Many units literally die by not following that rule. It is important as scout leaders to take on the responsibility of finding your replacement. Every unit needs a succession plan. That means that when the scoutmaster moves on, that there's an assistant scoutmaster to take over. Same thing's true with cubmaster, den leaders, committee chairs, treasurers, scribes, you name it. There should always be an assistant or someone that's going through that process. You must have someone to take your place or you can't go. Quite literally, it's that simple. And where do we find people to put in those positions? Parents. Every time. Parents. There are some parents that are going to step up and help their youth achieve by giving some time to scouting. Parents must step up and pitch in. One of the main reasons is they're uninformed. The only time they hear from us is when we need funding. Okay? They need to be just asked. They're not informed of their responsibility. But when they're asked, they will often say, I have no time. They're under the notion that this is a full-time, 40 hours a week job. It's not. Okay? It can be if you want it to be, but it's not hard and it's not time intrusive. One time when I was recruiting, we asked parents to get involved and they said they had no time. And the person that was learning how to recruit instantly said, well, what do you mean you don't have time for your own kids? Now, that might have been a little rough, but it's true, right? So that wasn't kind or courteous. So we had a little side trading on that one. But that's, if you think about it, yeah. You know, we as adult leaders, we know that. They need to know that too. Most of the time, that is just an excuse. Believe me, there are parents out there that literally plan every minute of every day. They may not have time. That might be true. Who knows? But if you think about it, if you really did that, you would find places where scouting will fit right in. Another big reason that parents don't get involved is that they're scared. They've been frightened. They see people with all these badges and stuff, and they look important, and they know what they're talking about. They didn't realize that all of it is learned. They could learn it too. It's all done online. You can learn all this stuff. Training is included. That's the wonderful thing about leadership. Another thing is not every position is scout facing. Now, if you're confused about scout facing or backstage, click the link up there, and this video will tell you about the two different kinds. It's only 1 hour a week. We used to say that a lot, and as scout leaders, we know that to do it right, you're going to have to spend a little more time. Now, I thought about that. 1 hour a week refers to the meeting. Okay? Well, the youth in a troop run the meeting. And in a Cub Scout pack, that's all written down. So that's something that can be done relatively easy. They don't mind if you read right out of the book. So it's okay. But that's really where that 1 hour a week came from. Realistically, now I worked out the numbers. That's if you think about it, if you put 2 hours, okay, one for prep, going online, getting some information, helping the den build a better popsicle thing. That might be necessary to find that and to print that out on for the den. That might be something you could actually give the den chief to do some research, so you can parse some of that out to other leaders. So that's a thought. But if you figure 2 hours, that's roughly in a year, that's 156 hours. That's not much time. That's not much time when you think about it. Over a year, it seems like a big thing. But Americans spend between 5.5 to 6 hours watching TV or surfing the internet for entertainment, watching YouTube videos. Okay? They spend a lot of time on that. If they could just sacrifice 2 hours a week, that 156 hours a year, they could definitely sacrifice that minor amount out of the 2,000 plus hours they spend a year on entertainment. Something to think about. So that 1 hour, we don't say that anymore because it's just not true. You get into what you get out of scouting, what you put into it. If you put in part-time, that's kind of how it comes out. If you put it in and you really work at it, and I know you do, that is something that pays off, pays dividends, because you get scouts that achieve. You get scouts that live the rest of their life by the Scout Oath and Scout Law, just by putting in small amounts of time over a long period of time. That's how it's done. So we really don't say the 2 hours anymore, because that's, we like to live to the Scout Law. The first one is trustworthy, right? So if you say 1 hour, that's not true. It could be 1 hour. It could be 10 hours. It could be a half hour. It depends on what you want to put into it, is what you are going to get out of it in the long run. So those are things to think about. Recruiting leaders from the parents all starts from asking. Oh, that's all you have to do. Ask. Most of them have never been asked. That's true. But you run a great unit. So I know you do that asking. You ask them all the time, right? You say, hey, I need somebody to help with this. Get them going. Get them going. Think about what you can do to help fulfill your responsibility on finding your replacement. And remember, you can't go anywhere until you do have somebody that will be there to fill those shoes. It's very important, and it's very critical that you do that as soon as you get into a position. You want to make sure you have somebody you can delegate to, somebody you can work with. Very, very important. And I know you do. You do this already. So keep up that good work. Okay? And remember, like always, I'll see you on the trail.